Glamour Prestige presents Virtual Learning Party every Tuesday and Thursday starting March 24th, 2020 for students in grades 3 through 6, reading and English only.
Your hosts are Dr. Jacqueline Walker and Velvet Smith, who are ready to turn up for learning. Hey!
Okay, so for the SOLs for this week, they are 3.5. The student will read and demonstrate comprehension of fictional text, literary nonfiction, and poetry. D, compare and contrast settings, characters, and plot events. And on 4.5, it is compare and contrast details in literary and informational nonfiction text.
Okay, and in fifth and sixth grade, we continue to do the same thing. They're going to be L in fifth grade, compare and contrast details in literary and informational nonfiction text. And in sixth grade, it's I. You're going to also compare and contrast details in literary and informational nonfiction text.
All right, the I can this today is I can compare and contrast details in literary and informational nonfiction text with 100% accuracy with the help of mentor text, videos, and graphic organizers. Hey guys, it is Thursday. Can you believe it's Thursday already? Well, today we are talking about compare and contrast. And Ms. Smith is going to give you a little bit more information on exactly what that means so we can get started for the lesson.
Okay, so we're going to do comparing and contrasting. So when we compare, we say how things are alike, and when we're contrasting, we're saying how things are different. But in reading what we compare and contrast, we're going to use different types of text to compare and contrast maybe the characters, the setting, and the information.
Wow, did you know that the bull shark has 50 rows of teeth? Bull sharks use their sharp teeth to bite and tear fish, turtles, and other prey. When a tooth breaks, another one moves into its place. You're reading about dolphins? Cool. Dolphins also have sharp teeth. But unlike bull sharks, they don't use them to tear their food. Instead, dolphins grab and swallow their prey whole. You're right, Moby. Sharks and dolphins are alike in some ways, and different in others. Looks like we need to play Sharks versus Dolphins. How do you compare? When you compare, you show how two or more things are alike. You describe how they're similar. Let's see. Guitars and basses are musical instruments. They both have strings and a neck. A guitar can be very loud. A bass can be too. When you compare things, you think about what they have in common. All right, Moby, are you ready to play Sharks versus Dolphins? Here we go. How are sharks and dolphins alike? Right, they're both animals. Yes, sharks can live in the ocean, and dolphins can too. What else do they have in common? Think about how they look and act. Both animals can be gray and white. Yep, they're predators. That means both sharks and dolphins hunt other animals for food. Certain clue words let you know that two or more things are being compared. The words like, alike, same, also, to, both, similar, in common, and the same as can signal comparisons. Now it's time for round 2. How are dolphins and sharks different? How do you contrast? When you contrast, you show how 2 or more things are different. You describe how things are not alike. Let's see. That guitar has 6 strings, but the bass has 4 strings. The guitar can play high notes. However, the bass plays much lower notes. Are you ready? Let's play Sharks versus Dolphins. Okay, Moby, how are sharks and dolphins different? Right, Moby. Sharks are fish, but dolphins are mammals. Right again. Dolphins and sharks breathe differently. Sharks breathe through gills, while dolphins use lungs to breathe. You're on a roll, Moby. Sharks make no sound. Dolphins, on the other hand, click, squeak, and whistle. They use these sounds to communicate and find their way around. Certain clues let you know that 2 or more things are being contrasted. The words different, differ, difference, unlike, although, even though, instead, however, and, on the other hand, can signal that the writer is pointing out differences. How do you compare and contrast when you read? When you read, think about how the characters, setting, and other parts of the story are alike and different. In The Ants and the Grasshopper, the ants work hard to collect food for the winter, but the grasshopper relaxes and plays. When winter comes, the grasshopper runs out of food. How are the characters alike? How are they different? You can use a Venn diagram to compare and contrast. A Venn diagram is a graphic organizer that shows how 2 or more things are alike and different. Let's see. The ants are organized, responsible, and they work hard. The grasshopper is lazy, relaxed, and likes to goof off. You write how the characters are alike and the spot where the circles overlap. Both the ants and the grasshopper are insects. They also need to eat to survive. When you compare and contrast characters, you think about them more deeply. This helps you understand the story better. That was a fun game, Moby. You won.
Okay, now we're going to look at compare and contrast. I really like that brain pop video. I really like how they really break down their videos. What do you think?
Yes, I really like the brain pop video because it gets you to really fully understand comparing and contrasting.
Okay, so compare and contrast. When you're looking to compare and contrast, you have to ask yourself, what is the same and what is different?
Comparing and contrasting also have signal words. Some words inside of a text help you to know that things are being compared, and some words help you know that things are being contrasted. Some of those words that help us to know when things are being compared or how they are like are same, similar, similarly, also, to, as well as, alike, both, like, in the same way, same as, in common, in comparison to, compared to, and equally.
And when you look at words to contrast, we have differ, different, difference, and contrast. On the other hand, while, whereas, but, yet, though, although, however, even though, in contrast to, and unlike. These are words to look for when you're looking to compare and to contrast.
All right, so now we're going to practice comparing and contrasting with task cards. Let's look at this task card. Anya and Lee both love outdoor sports. Since Anya lives in California, she swims a lot. She is thinking about joining a swim team. Lee lives in Vermont and is the best skier in her class. What is one difference between Anya and Lee? Is it A, Anya cannot swim as well as Lee? B, both girls are good at skiing? Or C, Anya swims while Lee skis? So, Dr. Walker, can you help us out with this question? What is one difference or contrast between Anya and Lee?
So, of course, we have to go back to the text. So, when I go to look for a difference, I'm going to think about things on how they are different instead of how they are alike or similar. So, when I go back in the text, I see that they both love outdoor sports. So, that's how they're alike. But Anya lives in California. She swims a lot. She's thinking about joining a swim team. And Lee lives in Vermont and is the best skier in her class. So I would say that the difference would be C. Anya swims and Lee skis.
All right, so let's see if Dr. Walker is correct. And that is correct. Anya swims and Lee skis. That is the contrast between Anya and Lee.
Okay, let's look at compare and contrast again. George Washington was the first president of the United States. He led the soldiers during the American Revolution. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. He served during the Civil War. Contrast Washington and Lincoln. Is it A, both were presidents? B, both were involved with war? Or C, Washington was the first president and Lincoln was the 16th? So, Ms. Smith, how do you think that they contrast based off of the text?
All right, so since we're looking for contrast, I know that there is where they are different. So I have to go back to the passage and I see that George Washington was the first president, Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. George Washington did the American Revolution and Abraham Lincoln did the Civil War. So to look at those differences, I would say the best answer would be C. Washington was the first president and Lincoln was the 16th.
Okay, let's see if you're right. And yes, that is correct. The answer is C. Washington was the first president and Lincoln was the 16th. Compare and contrast. Now we're going to look at how you compare and contrast stories or text. So, when you compare stories, you ask, how are they alike? The Three Little Pigs and Little Red Riding Hood stories were alike because they both had a big bad wolf.
Okay, when you're contrasting stories, you see how they are different. So the Three Little Pigs and Little Red Riding Hood were different because in one story, the wolf was after three pigs, and in the other story, he was after Red Riding Hood. When you contrast stories, you ask, how are they different?
Hi guys, here is the first passage that we are going to read of your compare and contrast of two different passages, both being nonfiction, one being more literary and the other one being more informational text. So, Wild Wolf Comeback. For years, there were no wolves left in Yellowstone National Park. Now, gray wolves are prowling the park again. Where the wolves wander. The wolf packs are back. In the past 10 years, the number of wolf packs in Yellowstone National Park has grown. That has meant big changes in the park's ecology or relationship among plants, animals, and their surroundings. Packs in the park. Until 1995, gray wolves had disappeared from Yellowstone. One reason why they died off is that humans hunted them. Then in 1995, scientists brought in 14 wolves from Canada. The scientists wanted wolves to be part of the wildlife in the park again. Today, about 130 wolves roam or wander around Yellowstone in 13 packs. While wolves prowling Yellowstone again, what happens to other living things there? Wolves are at the top of the food chain. And we'll look at that diagram in just a few minutes, but I want to continue with this passage, which means no other animal hunts them. But the meat-eating wolves hunt elk. Before the wolves made a comeback at Yellowstone, there were about 19,000 elk at that park. Today, there are about 11,000. Some experts think that the elk population dropped because the wolves are preying on them. These experts say that fewer elk is good news for trees. The elk eat young willow, aspen, and cottonwood trees. With fewer elk, these trees grow to their full size. Wolves are at the top of it all here, says Douglas W. Smith, a wolf expert at Yellowstone. They changed the conditions for everything else. It is still too early to know the full effects of the wolves' return to Yellowstone. 10 years is not that long, a time to measure the effects of the wolves, says Smith. One thing is certain, the experts will be watching closely. So if you go up and you look at your sheet that you have, I want you to look at the diagram. It has follow the Yellowstone food chain. A food chain shows how animals are connected to each other through what they eat. So, first is the willow tree. It says trees are food for elk and other animals. Then the elk. Elk are food for wolves, then the gray wolf. Wolves are at the top of the food chain. No other animal in Yellowstone eats them. Remember when you're looking at text features that you want to make sure that you examine them right along with your passage. As you can see, there are bulk letters in there, there are headings, there are subheadings, and there's also a picture of a wolf. So make sure that when you are continuing to read your passage that you also look at the text features that surround them. Okay, guys, now you're going to hear the second passage from Ms. Smith.
Okay, now I'm going to read our second passage, and it is When Wild Animals Become Pets. At the age of 6 years, Lilo seemed like the perfect family pet. His family's 9-year-old girl loved to snuggle with the cat and brush his beautiful striped fur. But as Lilo grew up, he didn't like being brushed. One day, as the little girl approached him, Lilo slashed out at her with a swipe of his massive paw. The girl's arm was injured so badly she needed 50 stitches. It was rare for a family pet to attack its loving owner, but Lilo should never have been anyone's family pet. This cute and playful cat was actually a tiger, one of at least 15,000 tigers, lions, leopards, cougars, and other big cats currently kept as pets in American homes and backyard zoos. Owning a pet tiger or a lion, experts say, is a dangerous fad in America. People love these animals and they love the idea of owning something wild and exotic, says Nicole Paquette of the Animal Protection Institute. They have no idea how hard it is to care for them. Tigers like Lilo could grow to weigh 650 pounds. They eat 15 pounds of raw meat per day. Their powerful paws, even when declawed, can crush a human skull. Dozens of people each year are injured or killed by pet tigers and other big cats. The situation can also be deadly for the big cats themselves. Fully grown cats often end up confined to small cages that are never cleaned because their owners are afraid to get too close. Living in squalid conditions, the cats become sickly and often more aggressive. Many animals die from neglect. Others are sold to ragtag roadside zoos or to ranches where hunters are allowed to shoot and kill them for sport. Shirley Missou works for the International Fund for Animal Welfare, an organization that rescues abandoned and abused big cats. She helps place some fortunate cats in sanctuaries, private shelters that keep the cats well fed and safe. But as Missou says, most of these sanctuaries are already full, so are big city zoos. The only solution experts agree is for people to stop buying these animals. Wild animals are exactly that, wild, says Paquette. Although they can be kept in cages, they are not tameable. They never will be like a dog or a cat. They are wild and they should be allowed to stay that way. All right, so let's look at our picture that's in the middle of our passage. And underneath our picture is the caption. More than 15,000 tigers and other big cats are kept as pets in the United States. That's more than are living in the wilds of Asia, the tiger's natural habitat. So looking at that picture helps us to better understand what this passage is about, which is when wild animals become pets. So we're going to use this passage along with the passage that Dr. Walker read to help us complete the Venn diagram that's coming up next so that we can compare and contrast the two texts.
Okay, now it is time for your independent practice. What we have here is called a Venn diagram, and I know you've all seen them before in your classes, but this is a nonfiction compare and contrast. You want to choose two nonfiction texts and fill in the Venn diagram to show how they are similar and how they are different. However, as you know, we've already chosen the two texts for you. Your first text is called Wild Wolf Comeback, and your second text is called When Wild Animals Become Pets. So what we need you to do now is we need you to pause the video and get out this sheet. And if you don't have this sheet, get out a sheet of paper and make two circles. And you're going to use the text to write down how both of the texts were similar and how both of the texts were different. All right, go ahead and pause us. All right, we are back, and I am going to show you the answers of what you possibly could have. So, under text 1, Wild Wolf Comeback, it says wolf packs are back in Yellowstone Park, wolves are at the top of the food chain, and the wolves prey on the elk, and the elk population has gone from 19,000 to 11,000. On text 2, when wild animals become pets, wild animals should not become pets. Tigers can eat up to 15 pounds of raw meat a day and weigh 650 pounds. Wild animals should live in their natural habitat. Now, there are ways that the passages or the texts were different. Now, some of the ways that they were similar is that they were both nonfiction texts. They talked about animals, specifically wild animals, and it talked about animals that were meat eaters. So if you have anything like this, then you are absolutely correct. If you have something a little different for your contrast, then you possibly could be right. But these should be the things that you really see for your compare on how they are the same. So if you have the sheets printed out, you can go back and look on them to make sure that you have something like this. If not, you just have the video, you can go back and look at the videos and pause them. Okay. All right, now Ms. Smith is going to talk about homework.
Let's look at your homework. We're going to continue comparing two nonfiction texts. The direction says, read the two nonfiction texts below, then complete the graphic organizer. Text 1. A hurricane is a dangerous storm. This type of strong storm has high winds. It can bring a large amount of rain. Hurricanes are dangerous because they are very large storms. They cover a wide area as they move. There are steps to take before a hurricane hits. It is important to watch the news and have a plan. Before a hurricane hits, board up windows. Bring in outside pets and furniture. Create a supply kit with first aid equipment, food, and water. Flashlights and batteries are good supplies to have in a hurricane. The high winds in hurricanes sometimes make the power go out. These are helpful tools when there is no electricity. During hurricanes, it is important to stay inside. Stay away from windows. If there are warnings to evacuate or leave your home because of danger, follow the directions. After the hurricane, stay inside until it is safe to go outside. Check on your neighbors to see if anyone is hurt. Stay with the adults in charge who can tell you what is safe. They will tell you how to help. Hurricanes are dangerous storms because they are large and sometimes slow moving. There are important steps to take to prepare and to be safe during and after the storm. It is important to be aware and ready. Let's look at text 2. There have been many devastating hurricanes to hit the United States. These hurricanes are famous in a bad way. They have been large disasters. Hurricane Katrina was a deadly storm in 2005. It hit New Orleans, Louisiana. The storm was stronger than anyone thought it would be. The lakes around New Orleans had too much water and it flooded homes. The damage was so expensive. Many people lost their homes. Many people lost their lives. Hurricane Sandy was a large storm that hit in 2012. It hit New Jersey and the New York City area. Many other states were affected by the storm, but the worst damage was in the Northeast. Streets and subways flooded. Many businesses and homes were destroyed. Hurricane Harvey was a destructive hurricane that hit Houston, Texas area in 2017. It moved very slowly, so it stayed in one area for a long time. The powerful storm rained over 50 inches. It flooded the city and many small towns. Thousands of people had to be rescued out of their homes. Many hurricanes do not bring as much damage as these hurricanes did. Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, and Hurricane Harvey are just a few of the most notable ones in the United States. Let's look at our graphic organizer. It says text 1, text 2, then we have our topics, and then we have our main idea. So we need to write the topic of text 1, then write the topic of text 2. Then we need to write the main idea for text 1 and the main idea for text 2. And then they ask the question, what information is the same in the two passages? So we're going to compare what information was the same between text 1 and text 2. And that completes your homework. And don't forget to submit your homework because we're still giving out prizes weekly to those people who do turn in their homework.
Hey guys! We know that today is Thursday, so you won't see us again until Tuesday. But for the coming weeks, we are going to be switching up how we do your lessons. So on Tuesdays, we will continue doing mentor text, and you will be able to get those literature books in, so you will be able to always have that use of authentic text. However, on Thursdays,
we're going to be doing test prep, and we're going to be doing passages that relate to the mentor text that we talk about on Tuesdays. We want to keep those skills up. So we're not going to have a specific skill. It's going to be a lot of different skills to help build your reading comprehension through passages.
Okay, so we will see you on Tuesday, and we really hope that you're enjoying those books that we've either met your parents to give them to, or we have also mailed them out in the mail. So those books will start putting into rotation next week as well.
All right.
See you later.